Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good afternoon, Molweni, goeiemiddag. I'm greeting everyone who understands. My name is Omar Brey. I'm a GP who was practicing in the corner of Brisbane and Perth Road, Wynberg, for about 36 or 37 years. I was born in Ottery Road. I've been studying. I studied medicine while I went schooling here. I studied medicine while I stayed here, and I've been working here. So all I need now in Wynberg is a place to be buried. Then I have spent my eternity in Wynberg. So let's go back to a bit of family history. My great-grandfather first came from India, from a small village called Morba, which is about 150 kilometers away from Bombay. You know, Mumbai or Bombay, whatever you want to call it. It's about 150 kilometers away. And he first came to South Africa in 1885. He then went back to India, but his son, my grandfather, then came in 1890 and settled in Cape Town. They had a shop on the corner of Eden Road and Douglas Road, which was where my father was born, in Wynberg. My mother was also born in South Africa, but she was born in Kendall Road, Deep River. Okay, so I'm actually third generation South African, and I'm a full-time Wynbergian. Okay. Just a little about my grandparents. My grandfather, in fact, was involved with the involved with the Douglas Road Primary School. He bequeathed the land, some of the land that the Douglas Road Primary School in Douglas Road, Wynberg, is still using. My father had a shop on the corner of Ottery. So we were born in Wynberg, in Ottery Road, Wynberg, all of us. I've got one brother and three sisters. As far as the shop is concerned, it used to be a people's shop. In other words, we used to not only have long hours in the shop. My father used to open the shop at 7 in the morning and close at about 10, 10:30 in the weekdays, and Friday and Saturdays even up to 11:30, 12. However, for those of you who remember at the time, there were restrictions as to what you could sell after hours being after 6. And of course, with the people coming from work, they needed stuff for tomorrow, for the bread and so on, and the police would fine us if we sold them things. But we nevertheless carried on selling despite that, and of course there was also the bookie system, so the people couldn't go buy somewhere. If they didn't have money, they had to come to my father. They had a bookie there, and then they paid the end of the week or the end of the month. Some paid, some didn't pay, no problem. No one was put in jail for not paying. A small incident I just need to mention to you about the shop is that there was no security there. Wynberg was secure. People of Wynberg looked after each other. And I have to tell you the incident about the gentleman Scully. People call them Scullies, but call it a gentleman Scully. One day a person from outside Wynberg came into our shop and was causing trouble in that he didn't want to pay for the goods he had just taken. And of course there was a little bit of loud words going about, and at that time the gentleman Scully walked past the shop and heard the commotion. He came in and he said, he asked my father, "What's the problem here? This guy doesn't want to pay for his goods." So our friend asked the man nicely, "Please pay for the stuff or you'll be in trouble." Of course he refused to pay. He took him outside and he beat him up. He smashed him into our window that he cracked a 2-by-2 meter window. And then he came inside and he told the guy, "If I ever see you," he said, "I'll come back tomorrow." The next day he brought the glass, he paid for it, he fitted it in and everything. So that's why I say he was a gentleman Scully. He looked after us as opposed to the other guy who just tried to rob us. The shop used to be for all the people. And if my father didn't have anything on the shelf that you asked for, he would try his best to get it for you for next time, because his policy was, you can't sell something you don't have. You can only sell something if there is on the shelf. In any case, it was interesting to meet your library people here, because I used to frequent the library in Castletown Road there around the corner, going up to the subway at the station. That was the library for the non-Europeans. There was, of course, the big library on the other side, which is still there, which we weren't allowed to visit. But the librarians here, they were such lovely people. I still remember if we had any homework to do, or if we had to do anything, there was no Google or anything. We had to go up there and get the reference books from the library. And if they didn't have it, they would request it from the library on the other side of the line, and then inform us when it's here, and then we can go do our work. So that's why I'm always fond of the libraries, and especially our library. The post office master here, well, he was our friend because I played cricket with him for Victoria Cricket Club. Gentleman to the core. If you look at a few other things, I studied in Wynberg, from Wynberg. I studied at UCT, so I could travel from Wynberg. And I practiced for, as I said, for nearly 36 or 37 years up here until I was put off work due to ill health. Who were the patients I saw? Well, I worked right across the Wynberg station up at the corner of Brisbane and Perth Roads, and which is that upper end of Ottery Road, where it meets Broad Road, in case you don't know. So there used to be a taxi terminus there, there used to be a bus terminus there, and the train station was there. So I used to see a lot of people coming from work in the afternoons, when they have to take a bus from there to go to Grassy Park or to Parkwood. By the time they get home, their surgeries there are closed. So I used to be convenient for them, plus working on weekends. So that used to be another plus factor for the patients. And I must tell you, most of my patients that I've seen, that I saw, were not from Wynberg, because Wynberg is a very limited area. Most of them were. I saw a lot of patients from the townships. I saw a lot of patients coming from Hout Bay, from Claremont, from Newlands, but they were the workers, not the owners of the houses. They were all the workers. And the thing about the lower income group patients that I had was that I always found fascinating is they were always very, very thankful for what we did for them. They were always nice people. They made it a pleasure to go to work. They weren't the kind to argue with you or shout at you or anything. They would come in and say to you, "Doctor, I don't have money. Will you see me, please?" No problem, we see them. They come back, they pay. If they don't come, they don't pay. No problem. Well, God is great, you know, and we leave it in the Lord's hands. For He decides what we're going to get and what we're not going to get. Speaking about the Lord, our family has been involved with the Yusufeyyah Masjid, which is next to Wynberg Station, for many, many, many years. My grandfather was chairman of the mosque committee there for a few years. My father was chairman there for 52 years. And I'm currently the chairman of the committee there. But the point is, we are trying to build up on the legacy they left us, because they were the pioneers, so to speak. And at the time, remember, with apartheid being at its height, we had to, they had it much more difficult than us. I must, however, say, excuse me, I must say, I often tell people, you know, I'd have loved to live 100 years ago. I say, "You crazy, there was no electricity, there were no cars, there were no this and that." Yes, but there was feeling. People that time had feelings. There was that love people had for other people. There was the issue of people being, not the word is not a religious, the word is, there was a supreme being in their life. Doesn't matter what religion, we had people living next to us that were, excuse me, they were Christians, they were Hindus, they were innocent. We had a Jew opposite the road, we had a shop. So we got on with everyone. They were blacks, they were browns, they were all colors. And of course playing cricket for Sackos also helped, because there was also, we had everyone except, in fact in the end we even had some whites playing for us. So my whole life I spent in Wynberg so far, and if anyone wants to ask me any questions about anything, please feel free to do so. Thank you very much. I hope this has been helpful to you.